Hot off the presses. According to league insiders, DeWanna Bonner has no interest in returning to the Indiana Fever. I think we all saw a semblance of this coming, but it has now been, well, I wouldn't say confirmed, but multiple league insiders are reporting to Annie Costabile. Of course, Annie Costabile is breaking this news of Front Office Sports that DeWanna Bonner has, quote unquote, no interest in returning to the Indiana Fever. Instead, wanting to be in landing spots with either the Phoenix Mercury or the Atlanta Dream. Landing with the Phoenix Mercury is not very surprising, as her partner, Alyssa Thomas, does play for the team. But I think something that is interesting about wanting to go to the Mercury is that they are playing a faster paced style of modern basketball. And I think the thing that I saw in DeWanna Bonner is her not exactly fitting the fast paced. I mean, I don't know. You can never really know until you try out with the team, but that's just kind of how I see it. And she has been recording career lows with the Indiana Fever. She's averaging 7.1 points per game. She's averaging 21 minutes per game. And again, like I said, these are career lows. And nobody likes to average career lows. Now, Bonner's agent, I guess his name is Mike Kund, was reached out to by Front Office Sports. He was not willing to comment on the situation, but this opens up a lot for the Indiana Fever, as well as them having to scramble for what they're going to do next, because as I'm sure many of you know, Demiris Dantas, who is a big, she is part of the front court of the Indiana Fever. She will be gone from the team after tonight's game against the Seattle Storm. She is heading over to AmeriCup to play for, I think, the next 5 games that the Fever have. So they will be dangerously thin in the front court. So I'm assuming that the Indiana Fever, already knowing this, have been scrambling for what they're going to do. And while it does seem like, oh, let's bring in Aari McDonald does not solve the problem that has arisen in the front court depth for the Indiana Fever. The Fever are now down a big. Think about the bigs that are left. Natasha Howard, Bree Turner, and Michaela Timpson. And of course, Aaliyah Boston. But Aaliyah Boston's a given. She is the powerhouse of the front court. But I mean, I think it's hard to rely on a Bree Turner, and Michaela Timpson is a rookie. I mean, I would love to see her on the court, but she isn't necessarily a player that has been proven reliable just yet. Again, still want to see her on the court. But because DeWanna Bonner's contract was $200,000, that would be probably, I would assume, prorated. We are about 1/3 into the season, so there is about 2/3 of $200,000 left, which is $133K added to the cap space for the Indiana Fever. They also have some cap space left. When they initially signed Aari McDonald, they had 43K, but Aari's hardship contract ate into that a little bit. So let's just round that off to about 36K. So they now have about 169K to play with if they go down DeWanna Bonner. But if they do go down DeWanna Bonner, that would mean that the team has 9 players after Demiris Dantas goes over to AmeriCup. I hope you're still following me here. But in this 5-game stretch, or however many games Demiris Dantas is going to be out, the Indiana Fever will be dangerously low on roster players that they have to go out on the court with. To qualify for a hardship contract, all you need to have is less than 10 players available to head out to the court. So the Indiana Fever will have that, depending on when and what they decide to do with DeWanna Bonner. I would assume that they're going to be looking for a trade. They could also cut her because DeWanna Bonner is on an unprotected contract. So a lot of this depends on what the actual next steps are for the Indiana Fever and DeWanna Bonner. According to Front Office Sports, they're saying that a trade is unlikely because the Phoenix Mercury only have $88,000 in cap space, and the Dream only have $23,000 in cap space. So there's no way that the Dream would be able to sign DeWanna Bonner to a veteran minimum, because a veteran minimum is $78,000. Now, I guess the Mercury could do it, and they could organize some sort of trade with the Indiana Fever. I'm assuming it would be DeWanna Bonner plus another player or a draft pick or something of the sort. Front Office Sports thinks this is very unlikely because players that are comparable to Bonner's salary are probably off limits. I would guess that if she really wants off the Indiana Fever and really wants to go to the Mercury, the Fever could just waive her, and then they have to wait, and then the league would have to wait 48 hours, and then DeWanna Bonner would become an unrestricted free agent. And then the Mercury could just sign her for the veteran minimum of $78K. I mean, that's taking a significant pay cut for DeWanna Bonner. She'd be losing, because the rest of the season would be $133,000. And then if you prorate the $78K, you take 1/3 away of the $78K. That would be a $52,000 contract for DeWanna Bonner for the rest of the season. These salaries could be negotiated. Maybe the Mercury are willing to pay her more, but that would be the veteran minimum. Now, possible alternatives that I do not think are probable is the Atlanta Dream could trade, and they could trade for Alicia Gray. Not going to happen. She is at a $190,000 contract. Nia Coffey, I mean, I could see possibly a trade for Nia Coffey. Nia Coffey's been kind of good coming off the bench. Shatori Walker-Kimbrough is somebody that could come in and step in, who they could possibly trade for DeWanna Bonner. Other than that, I don't see anybody, like maybe Naz Hillman. But yeah, I don't see anybody who fits the bill for, a DeWanna Bonner like fill-in for the Indiana Fever. The Phoenix Mercury, I mean, Sammy Whitcomb is on a $125,000 contract. She's been pretty good at the wing too. She was drilling her threes, but I don't think that they would want to lose her. They have Loxa on a rookie contract. Yeah, right. They'd never give her up. Lexi Held, they'd never give her up. Plus, I think she might be out with an injury. They have Natasha Mack. They would not give her up. I just don't see them giving anybody up on the Phoenix Mercury. And Alyssa Thomas was asked about this, and she had no comment.
So that said, DeWanna Bonner listed Phoenix as one of her preferred destinations.
But I guess it makes sense as to why Alyssa Thomas was still able to play through all her games. She was still able to smile and have fun and dominate on the court, because I don't think that DeWanna Bonner was going through like any family issues. Obviously, this is still a personal issue, and I'm sure she's not like happy dealing with it. There could be a lot of stress and a lot of pressure that DeWanna Bonner is dealing with, but I don't think it is as a sensitive nature as something that, a family matter or somebody very sick, or DeWanna herself being very sick. So a lot of this is making a lot more sense. Now, who ideally could the Indiana Fever bring over for that amount of cap space? They could pretty much bring over any European player or any player they want. Again, I am heavily leaning towards building out the front court with somebody very sturdy and stable, because right now I think the front court is not very stable for the Indiana Fever. That's the bigs, and it would be ideal to get somebody who could power through the paint and somebody who could spot up and shoot up at the wing, because the Indiana Fever really need to be hitting those threes, in my opinion, from this moment out. And Emma Miesemann, she is a player over in Europe. She is decorated to the max. She hasn't been playing as well as she normally has, but she is still a dominant player overseas, and I think that would be a great acquisition for the Indiana Fever. Whether or not she is willing to come to the Indiana Fever is a whole other story, though. So yeah, big news before the Seattle Storm game tonight, and now we sort of know what the heck was going on with DeWanna Bonner.